Okay, so now we're at my favorite part. We learned about the attachments a little bit. I picked some TV characters and I thought it would be fun to see who displays what style. Okay, you may have not watched all the shows, maybe you have. Um, and you can kind of play this on your own after you do this lesson. As you're watching TV, you'll be able to go, oh, she's avoidant attached. Oh, he's anxious. Oh, she's pretty secure. Or maybe she's fearful. Maybe she's a mix, or he's dismissive, right? So these characters are from Sex and the City, Carrie Bradshaw, and Big. In this particular relationship, if you watch the show, Carrie is, and you may already know, and you can like write it down or tell yourself what you think it is, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll see what I think. There's really no right or wrong answer, but some of these there's a couple of these are pretty easy. Some are maybe more arguable. We'll see. Carrie, in her relationship with Big, really always wanted to be close with him. She was always craving this closeness. She was always trying to connect with him. And Big wasn't really having it. He put up a lot of walls, right? Like when he was going to Paris and he didn't really see like what the problem was. He didn't think that there would be anything bad about their like distance between each other, but like, come on, that's a big deal, right? So you may have guessed it. Carrie was anxious attached in the relationship, and Big was avoidant. And it's not that Carrie was, a lot of the things she was asking for were perfectly normal, but I think in being in a relationship with an avoidant attached person, she became more anxious, like, when she threw the McDonald's and stuff like that. And again, that's not to say that Big's behavior is okay, because it's certainly not. He did a lot of messed up things and hurt her. And that's the thing, is that sometimes you could be a secure attached person and then get in a relationship with an avoidant attached person, and that just if you're not super rooted in your secure attachment, it can bring up some anxious behavior or feelings. Okay, so from Friends, Monica versus Chandler. This one might be a little bit more difficult. And again, we watched them in other relationships with other people. But this one's about particularly their relationship. In my view, Chandler was kind of like, he wanted to be with Monica. He didn't really feel like he was good enough for her. I think that showed in some of the things. So it was kind of like a push-pull with him. He would be close in some instances, but not in others. Like when they first got together, and he just said that they were kind of hanging out. And I think that for the most part, Monica kind of handled it well. Maybe not in other relationships on the show, but in this one, I think she did. And so what I thought and saw was that Chandler was fearful attached, so anxious and avoidant, kind of a mix about that. Like when he wanted to marry her, but then her ex-boyfriend, Richard, came in, Tom Selleck, and so he kind of like pulled back. He didn't think he was, good enough. If he was secure attached, he would have just, asked and realized that's her ex, right? And maybe not in every other relationship. I think when Monica was with Richard, she was probably more anxiously attached, but with Chandler, I think she was pretty secure attached. I think she handled his, she soothed a lot of his anxiousness, and she didn't let his avoidant behavior push her away, right? And so this one is from, a perfectly named for this topic show called Insecure. The show is on right now, whereas the other two shows have ended. I really like this show. So on the top, we have Issa, and then on the bottom, we have Lawrence. And if you watch the show, they are in a long-term relationship, and the show kind of focuses on how she kind of wants to get out of that relationship. He's out of work, and but she doesn't really know how to say she wants out of the relationship. And Lawrence starts to get nervous because he can kind of, tell she spends the night at a friend's and then doesn't come home, and he catches her in like CVS or something buying a 3-pack of underwear, and he kind of like freaks out about it. Doesn't want the relationship to end. And so Issa is definitely the avoidant attached person. She ends up cheating. So that's definitely an avoidant attached behavior, is that instead of being able to express to the person that you no longer want to be in the relationship or the problems and trying to work on them, they look outside of the relationship and cheat. And I said that Laurent was anxious attached. I guess, you could see somewhat of his behavior as secure. You could say that in many aspects he was secure, but I think he started to become pretty anxious, like especially when he saw her in the store and he saw that she was buying like multiple pairs of underwear to kind of show that she wasn't coming home. Right. And again, this doesn't, no one is better than the other, and it doesn't mean that her behavior wasn't terrible. Cheating, of course, is terrible. And this one, this is a great example because it shows how a woman can be avoidant attached and a man can be anxious, right? Okay, this one's probably my favorite. This is from The Office. So we have Ryan and Kelly. Ryan is really, as I'm thinking about it now, though, I'm wondering if I picked the right one. But Ryan, when in a relationship with Kelly, often pretty dismissive of her, and just vocal, even outwardly vocal about how they were in the relationship, but like he was trying to get, like in the later episodes, he's trying to get with Erin, the receptionist, even though he's with her and on camera. So he was pretty open about his dissatisfaction, kind of like the grass is always greener mentality, looking outward to another relationship, never really was clear about his intentions, and played a lot of games, right? And Kelly was, I think, I'll just go to the next slide because the word I'm going to use is anxious. She was really anxious about the relationship, and I think this was kind of a perfect picture for it. Just, would constantly go back to him even when he displayed this bad behavior. I was going to say that, it's possible that Ryan was fearful, avoidant, because he did have a lot of that push and pull. He wanted to get back together with her, but only when she was with somebody else, right? When she starts dating Daryl or something like that. So it's possible. I don't know which avoidant attached. And I would say the same goes for, I think that Ryan could be fearful, avoidant, attached, but I think he leans more on the avoidant side, in my opinion. So, and this is an example to show us that we can display one attachment style in another relationship, but then we kind of shift. And I think like with Carrie here on Sex and the City, when she was with Big, she was so burned and hurt by Big that she kind of felt like she needed to protect herself more. And so in her relationship with Aiden, she definitely became avoidant attached, right? She wasn't clear about her intentions. Like, yes, she married him, and then she started wearing the ring like on a necklace. Like, she didn't want to be committed, but if it were Big, she would, want to be committed. And that's also, could be because, she actually loved him. She didn't love Aiden. And Aiden, I would say, was pretty secure attached throughout, with some anxious behavior, because there was some like the desire to marry her just so that, to like make sure that she wasn't going to go back to Big, because he was so worried and anxious about that. So there is that. I think mostly throughout he was pretty secure, willing to discuss things. He was okay with her putting off the engagement for a little while, but then she obviously didn't want to just put it off for a little while. She wanted to not get married, but just couldn't express it, or not married to him. So further reading on the subject of attachment, if you're really interested in it, is Attached is a really great book that I highly recommend on attachment styles and healing them. And it has a quiz in there. I think the quiz in here might be slightly